Welcome to Dance Mogul Magazine TV. We are here live with Granny. Granny, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes, I'm so honored to be able to interview you today because for some time now I've been hearing so much about you and just your history. You have such a long, rich history, and not only dance but also the community in general. I hear that you are so highly valued and so respected by your peers, and just people in the community love and appreciate all of the things that you have done. They really embrace your words of wisdom and the encouragement that you give them. And so because I've heard about you and all the things that you're doing, I knew that I had to try to make time to make sure that I got your story and found out what is it that makes you tick, so that way we can share your message with the youth, so that way they too can hear and know how you were able to do some of the great things that you have done throughout your lifetime. So if you will, please take your time. Tell us how everything got started. Take us through the journey of your life.
Okay. Well, actually, before I was 2, I remember when I couldn't walk and had to crawl up the stairs. In fact, you've probably seen the baby picture of me sitting on some stairs. Well, at that time, I couldn't even walk. But I was 2 years old when my family decided to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to visit our family. Because we're from Tulsa, and that was the Black Wall Street, and we had our own company, business, store, which my mom worked at the store as well as my auntie and stuff. My grandmother was. A lot of people considered her mulatto back then. She was the lightest in the family, so she actually was the one that was able to come to California to make a better living for us after the Tulsa riots. Aunt Min ran out of Tulsa when the riots came on barefoot. And when I asked my aunt how come she was barefoot, she was saying because they didn't have a horse.
Wow.
So it was just simple answers that they gave then. My father was a musician, and my mother was a dancer. And my father would, he had a music store in Oakland, in West Oakland, downtown, called Steve Johnson Studio. Like I said, on the way for the trip to Oklahoma, I would sit on the radio. The radios at that time were big, huge boxes almost. And so I'd sit they'd sit me in the front, and I would sit there and sing Boney Maroney. That was an old song way back then. And so I'd just be singing my heart out. And then when I got 5, I tap danced in church. And the preacher said something about using your talents. So I jumped up and I started tap dancing. I said, well, I could tap dance. And I started tap dancing in church. And my family was musically inclined. Leon Patillo is my cousin. Hillard Street. Joe Liggins, the Boogie Woogie Man. When he came from Tulsa, he settled in Compton, California. So he's the one that invited my group to go to Compton High School to perform as guests. And at that time, Compton was a very, very good community. It was new and being built So we always traveled back and forth from here from San Francisco to LA. And then my cousin Hillard, who lived in Fresno, California, we would, stop there sometimes. We had family in Madera and Clovis. So I was all over the West Coast. And so, like I said, my biggest thing was dancing because of my mama. My mom, as it turned out, unfortunately, was an alcoholic. So it put pressure on me to make us good. It was a burden for me to prove that we were good because she was kind of like abandoned, deserted by the family because of that drinking. And so for me, I took that on to prove we were good. Mama would teach us how to make beats. She'd go around the house beating different furniture, using a spoon or whatever instrument to make beats and stuff, and the beats and ever since I was little, and so that was something that me and my brother came up with, and from her, and I was always dancing, and so it's like when I was like 11, I think that was Party Lights came out, this song called Party Lights, and it was about going to a party and stuff like that. But I couldn't go because I wasn't old enough to go out then, unless I went with my cousin or something who was 1 year older than me. Mm-hmm. But I was always dancing. My grandmother had bought Bell and Howell 8mm camera in '60, and that's when the song Hully Gully came out. So we were doing that. I had that. That's all on film, but unfortunately, my brother passed away last year, so I don't have it, the tape of it. So coming up, like I said, with the pressure of making mom good, because unfortunately my grandmother said, "Oh, you're going to be like your mom. You ain't going to be nothing," and that I couldn't settle for that, and so I had to make us good. So I came up with the dance because of that, and my family. I had to pass my family, who were all very successful already. Oh, also Bobby Hutton. He was the very first singer on Soul Train when Don Cornelius came here in '71. And so not only to prove that I was good, I had to prove it over all the relatives. And I was the youngest of the family. So and plus I was a girl, and during that time I wasn't supposed to be educated. I wasn't supposed to know anything. So mostly what I did was off of my own intuition.
Now, before you continue, excuse me for interrupting. What do you mean by the fact that you wasn't supposed to be educated? And also, as you continue to talk, if possible, can you just give us years, like what year these things were happening, so that way the young people can value the freedoms that they have today? So just when you talk, just tell us the years. If you can remember the years, just interject the years into your conversation.
Right. Okay. So when I got 11, okay, that was at the age like, okay, for instance, my brother was allowed to go places or do things that I wasn't allowed to do because he was a boy. Simply because he was a boy. No other reason was given. He's a boy, so he could do that. Period. And so I thought that, I can do that, and actually it made him angry with me, because when I would do it better. So he would get upset with me. But So then moving into my teen years and stuff like that, and wanting to go to school, I was molested as a teen, and I had a baby. The unfortunate part about that is that I was too young to recognize it as being a mother. I had no idea of what that meant, being that my mother was already an alcoholic. So that didn't register to me. I couldn't fathom a human being being inside of another human being. My mind was, I think, too immature to have that vision or to think of it like that. All I know is they told her, that's yours, and you was a bad girl, you did that. So that was that, so I was stuck with that. So that the pressure on me was even more intense. I was allowed to take care of the baby during the night when it cried and to change her diaper, but other than that, I didn't. So when I got 15, I ran away with my baby, and but still, it didn't. I just knew it was mine. I still didn't have any instincts. I guess because I never grew up with that type of mother. My mother died when I was 18, so she was far gone by that time. When she got 38, it was all over. So, and that's very young to die from alcohol. So during that period, I never did have that. So I only had a 7th grade education. So, like I said, everything I did was off of instinct. So I knew, okay, I can make a beat, I can dance, I can do this. A lot of my stuff, or like if you see me dancing, well, I put music on it, but on the dances you'll hear me humming a beat. Just to go with my moves. So instead of me taking the negative things that happen in a negative way or a promiscuous way or anything, I put it into creativity. You see, so that's what I would get creative, more creative at that. So what happened with that, as I became more creative and stuff like that, the family would be disappointed with me, and I didn't understand why, I didn't know that I was making them madder because I was doing more. So my brother used to play with Freddie and the Stone Souls, who is Sly Stone's brother. Like the Stones, their last name is from their manager. That wasn't their original last name. It came from their manager whose name was Stone. And so he played with Freddie. And so, all that was good and all that was great. So I had to come up with something that would top that. Okay, so when I was 11 and 12, then we were doing the robot. And we'd be on the corner singing doo-wop and the robot. But see, doing the robot wasn't like you danced the whole dance just doing the robot. You just did, you just intertwined it with the other dances that you were doing at that time. Twist. So as I got into my teens, it was the Miracles, the Temptations, the Isley Brothers, and those were the guys that I came up with. It's funny because a lot of people like to put me older than that. Like, okay, for instance, they'll say like, Sam Cooke or one of those, but that was more like my grandmother's type of style. They the one that liked that. I was a, Miracles and Temptation baby. So, and they were moving. So, like I said, I had to come up with something. First I started with acting, and I would give plays in my home and try to invite my family and try to impress them, which that wasn't too successful. Then when I would give my shows, when I got 16, my grandmother picked my husband for me, and that man was 8 years older than me. I did not like that man, but that's who she chose for me to marry because I had a baby. And I always wanted to be obedient because during those times, a kid was not supposed to speak. You know, you talked at, but you don't speak. That was it. And, you know, people would hit a kid in a minute and think nothing of it. That was nothing. You get your butt beat in a minute. You know, I got beat with extension cords, sticks, hangers, anything that they could find, you know, unfortunately. But that was the way it was. And then there was a lot of prejudice around during that time. The first time that I experienced that, I was 7 years old, and we went to the ice cream shop, and we were waiting in line, and every time a white person came up, we had to get behind them. And I was with my grandmother, and so I said, well, we were here, why we got to be there? And she hit me, and told me to be nice to them because they don't help me. And, you know, so it never gave me any explanation. So a lot of things I had to grow up with not knowing what this was or that was. We had to stay away from the Muslims. The Muslims was going pretty strong at that time, preaching the blue-eyed devil, the white man was the devil, and then the Pampers was out and stuff like that. So we were told to stay away from that, and I figured that probably came from the Tulsa riot. So they didn't want to get involved with that because that was horrible, you know, the way they tore up Tulsa. And so I don't think that they wanted any type of trouble. And plus, my grandmother had her home, and you know, she didn't want that destroyed. That's only my guess of why, you know. Anyway, but it was still something that you don't talk about. So anyway, continue. I went to acting class in San Francisco. Then I went to LA to get acting class because Hollywood, actually not LA, but Hollywood was supposed to be the main place for entertainment. And like I said, because I did have family down there, so, you know, it was no problem. And so I took my acting. I went to school at Kilpatrick Cambridge School of Acting. At that time, Denise Nicholas was one of the owners of it. Her and Lincoln Kilpatrick, he's since passed. But I was in class with Maraji, the guy that did the Karate Kid 1, the Asian guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, he was great then too. But so I went to acting school there. So during my time in LA, in 71, I was able to get into Screen Actors Guild, and but there were no dancers out there. And this is what's amazing, how people are claiming that they were out there doing that. And like I said, I was all over LA. And they weren't, I didn't see any. So, you know, I can only surmise that I was at the wrong place in order to see them.
Now, when you say, Granny, excuse me, when you say there were no dancers out there, you mean there were no dancers in Hollywood, or you didn't see any dancers on the street corners?
I didn't see any dancers in Hollywood. I didn't see any on the street corners. I just didn't see any, whether I was in LA or Hollywood. They were not there when I was at Crenshaw Mall, because we was going to do, we did a show after Take 5, and at that time they had the British Knight shoes, which was gold and white, beautiful. But somehow I guess that fell through. But anyway, and there was no dancers that did that style of dance but us. And like we would go to like the comedy club, different places I would take them, and the reason they was able to get in is because they were with me, an adult. You know, other than that, the kids could not get in. And a couple of years later, we ran into Rerun, and we danced against Rerun, and we won.
Let me interject for a second, Granny. At that time, was there any big name dancers? I mean, outside of like, you know, James Brown and the people that were in the industry, was there any big name dancers?
Only thing we saw was the lockers on TV, and we didn't consider them dancing like us at all. We were not interested in that because, see, when it started, this was before Tony Basil was even in the group, or Shabadoo. But see, and I'll be trying to tell people because I remember that because I was there, you know. And my hairdresser's daughter used to go to Michael Jackson's parties and stuff, you know. And the lockers, they had just that one move where they do their shoulder up and down. So they didn't have a lot of that, and you know, and they was on Soul Train. So, but you know, that just wasn't inspiring enough at that time to want to do. Since then, it has grown, and it's much better, of course. But during that time when we came down there, that you know, it wasn't enough.
So Granny, you were dancing in a group, or you were dancing by yourself, or with a group of other dancers?
Oh, I always had a group. Like at 11, I had my group, La Chapinettes, and we would make up steps and stuff like that, and dance and stuff like that. One hot dance was the Texas Hop, and because that one you can move. Mainly, all the dances actually were where you could move right into another dance. You know, you wasn't stuck to one style. You moved right on to the next dance, you know.
So when Soul Train came on, was that, because I know that was really big all over the world, but particularly since it was in California, was that a goal that you guys, it was really no big deal to you guys, or it was something that you wanted to do?
Soul Train was, it was, like I said, we danced different up north. So it wasn't that fascinating for just the locking.
Okay.
And just watching the other thing and watching the Soul Train, that was fun.
Okay.
That was fun. And then Don Canales came along right after Chuck Barris, and he felt like he was in competition with Chuck Barris, you know, for his show, for the type of show he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so at that time, were there any dance competitions, or I know it wasn't like it was today, so you guys probably just were doing shows doing different gigs and things like that?
I took them down there every year just, you know, to go to different gigs. I was trying to find something bigger. Anyway, when we went down there to LA in 75 to dance at Compton High, that was when Michael Jackson's agent got the video of us doing the dance, because Michael needed something new to do. And, you know, so we saw the video and everything. It was all cool, and that was it. So, but Michael didn't know where we were from, you see. So I'm sure that's why he waited all those years, and why he would just say the Ghetto Kids and call it the dance instead of just saying it was the backslide. You know, he said the dance. See, so that there, I mean, it's like, okay, are they really listening? He's not saying just the backslide. He's just saying that he enhanced the dance.
So, okay, so help me, and I'm just trying to connect the dots for the youth. So, what was your dance group name at that time, and how did you come up with the name Granny?
Okay, the group was Granny and Robotroid Incorporated. When I saw Don, the Robotroid, at a talent show, the Fillmore Auditorium in San Francisco on Gary Boulevard, it was himself, his brother, Derek Loving, and Greg Crump. And so Don was very impressive to me. And so I approached him and, you know, gave him my number to contact me, and he contacted me the next day. And he was from Oakland, and he came over. And we started since then. And when they came over, Derek was trying to do the dancing like the Black Messengers do. So I couldn't have that because, like I said, my dance had to be original stuff. Like I said, because I had the purpose I was doing it for was to prove myself to my family that I was good. You know, me and my mom. So remember, in the back of my head, it was always proving that me and mom was good. You know, but so I couldn't use it. But besides that, it's and I didn't. You know, I let the group do it. Derek started calling Don and his brother stupid, and you know, just belittling them. And I said, oh no, we can't have that. You know, we can't have that. And, so then Don and I came up with the name Granny and Robotroid Inc. See, that's what, there was no S. There's no S on Robotroid. It's Granny and Robotroid Incorporated. So the Oakland is the one that tried to separate it. You know.
So when you came up, excuse me, when you came up with the name Granny, and it was a part of an act, because I noticed during those days, a lot of dancers used to do like acts, like Shields and Yarnaz with the robot. You know, they would do like little skits. And so when you came up with the name Granny, you were planning on using that as a part of a skit for your dancing?
Granny, the reason I came up with Granny is because my grandmother told me I couldn't do anything because I had kids. And so I did not want that to be the reason I couldn't do what I loved. You know, I remember my uncle saying, you know, well, I had to stop and take care of my family, so that's why I had to sacrifice, so that's why I couldn't do what I want. I just didn't want that type of burden. So I said, well, then, I know I'll be Granny. That way, no matter how old I get, I can always do it. So it seemed like, you know, for my kids, at that time they were little, and, you know, that seemed like a long time. So I put the kids in the act, I became Granny.
Okay.
And so that's the reason I became Granny. It wasn't for just because that was cute. It was out of necessity.
Okay.
It was out of necessity for survival.
Okay. And
also,
that was, I wanted to ask you, I had heard during those years that there was a lot of clubs that the dancers would go to, and you know, they would dance and just showcase their dancers. Did you go to any of those clubs, or did you know anything about anything like that?
That's not true. Ed Howard had a place called Ed Howard's Place. They had a lot of clubs, but they were not for kids. Ed Howard made a special exception to allow us into his club because at that time they were serving food. A kid can come in with an adult if they're serving food and not just alcohol alone.
Okay.
So there was no, they had talked about it. There was a brother club in San Francisco. I can't think of the name right now, but it was on Fulton Street. And it was supposed to be the brother to Ed Howard's club. But they had a lot of clubs, but it was not for kids. You didn't see any kids hanging at those clubs. That's why I would give the shows and dances, because there was nothing for kids.
And when you started to do that, did it start a new movement? Was there other people that started to bring?
Oh, when I started doing that, when they first saw us, I mean, they just went, wow. We toured with this singing group called Samaki and the Variations, and we went to every park in Oakland. And we danced there, and the kids would follow us from every day to whatever park we was going to be at to follow us. And then, you know, we went through there, and we just knocked out everything. It got to the point where we were just so pumped that we just go in and come out, they start screaming, and, you know, it's over, we go to the next one. But, like I said, I had the advantage because I was 26 years old, and I had a car, and I wasn't limited to anywhere I needed to go or wanted to go. I just packed those kids in there and I'd go. It's funny, I had a little Chevette. I don't know if you know how little a Chevette was, but I packed us into that Chevette because they were kids, and we'd go, and I'd go, and then I'd rent a camper or something when we was going to L.A. I'd rent a camper or you know, one of those mobile homes and go to LA. I didn't know exactly where to go, or, you know, like I said, but the thing that stopped us, not only out with the Soul Train thing, but was there's a clip that I have where it shows Don Cornelius is telling the guys that they created popping and to say it before anybody else did. Like I said, because Don Cornelius got mad because I went on the Gong Show, but
okay, so tell us how that came about, because you shared your story as far as how you got started with your dancing, and you know, you started to bring the young children into your act, and you started touring. And did you start and at some point you decided that you wanted to take your act to another level, and the Gong Show and different variety shows was out at that time, Carol Burnett and others. How were you able to get on the Gong Show?
How what?
How were you able to get on the Gong Show?
So, the Gong Show, the very first show aired in July of 1976. And so we, not we, but I submitted our picture and resume. At that time, you were to submit a black and white photo of yourself. That's why you'll see a lot of photos were in black and white, because it was better for print at that time. You know, because they didn't have the technology that they have today. You know, it was super expensive. So we would send that. And so then they wrote us back and told us to come for an audition. And so we come for an audition. You come for an audition, and you leave and wait for them to write you back to tell you if you won. See, so so then that's when we got on. That was before October, though. And so we got on the Gong Show. So, and by 77, it had picked up real good where it started showing internationally. So we were seen all over the world at that time.
So you're saying that they kept replaying that particular episode? Or you went back again for a second time?
You don't go back a second time unless you lost.
Oh, okay.
See, that's where it was. This is one of the things I was saying about particularly. You don't go back unless you lost. We lost. I mean, we won. That's why we didn't get to go back.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't something that you come back for because it was a variety show. Like I said, unless you lost, then they'll give you an opportunity to come back.
Okay.
See? And you still had to go through that process of sending the thing to get auditioned, then coming for an audition if you accepted, and then going back to do the show. You see? So that was
so when you did all of these things, you were living in Oakland at the time, Oakland, California?
Oh, no. I was born and raised in San Francisco. All of this was from San Francisco.
Okay. San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just started living in Oakland. The first time I lived in Oakland was in the 90s.
Okay.
But when I did come to Oakland, it was, looking for dancers and stuff.
Okay. Now, Granny, you know how when the kids, when they look at Michael Jackson, they get really inspired and they're like, wow, I want to be like him when I grow up. When you were coming up, who were you looking at on TV and you were like, wow, he or she is such a great performer? Who did you think was great?
Nobody.
No one? No, what, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, nobody?
No, I didn't. That wasn't my goal. You see, my goal was it wasn't to drool over anybody, it was to prove myself.
Okay.
You see, that's why I said my whole purpose of doing it was just totally different from anyone else. Now, who I was inspired by to help me on that was Shirley Temple. Because Shirley Temple used to like to help the poor kids. You see. So, as a kid, I was inspired by that. But as far as greatest one or that, it wasn't, because my goal was to get there myself to prove,
that you can make it. Yes, I understand.
That I was a good person. No, you remember, I was considered bad because I had a baby.
Yes.
And bad because my mama drank. So all this burden was on me. So, I had to prove that we were good. So as I progressed with that, the family started hating on me more.
Wow.
Oh, you think you're better than everybody else. See, I was the next lightest in there. A lot of black families go through that racial color thing, being lighter than a brown paper bag and stuff like that. So I had to go through that, and they also thought that I was able to get more because my skin tone was lighter, although I'm not high yellow like my grandmother was. But still, I was lighter, and that did not, my brother, all the way until my grandmother died in 99, said, you always thought you was better than me because you're lighter than me. So those were things that were going on in the black family.
Yes, I see. So you didn't let the obstacles of what was going on during that time, as far as racism or any kind of he say, she say, you didn't let any of that get in your way. You stayed focused.
Only thing, like I said, because I had a 7th grade education, I didn't know how to negotiate. That's what hurt me.
Okay.
I didn't know how to do that. and most of it felt like they were trying to con you anyway. Or like when I got the offer to go to Japan, if I go to bed with the producer. So I had to go through all kinds of stuff like that, and I was feisty. Well, I ain't going to bed with no producer.
Okay, I see. So so because you had morals, you was not willing to sell yourself to try to gain any level of success.
Well, in my mind, for the mentality I had at that time, it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. Why do I have to go to bed with you in order to do this, and you're telling me you're trying to help me? Well, it just didn't add up to me. You know, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yes.
So no, I wasn't going to sell myself that way. No way.
So would
you... And I'm sick and tired of being molested already. You know, once a little girl is molested, it continues throughout her life.
Yes. Yes.
So I got tired of that. It's like a lot of great people I thought were great people to me, and then until we got behind the door and they started showing me sex. I mean, it was so disappointing. I had a goal. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't looking for fame and fortune. I had a goal to make us good.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. See, so like, you know, some people may thought that it was ambition and thought that I was looking for fame. No, I was looking to just to be accepted, to be loved.
Yes.
To be loved. I just wanted to be loved. You know, and I always felt that if I had just one person in my life to love me, then you know that never happened.
Yeah.
You know, also I couldn't have a personal life because I had the kids, and I wasn't going to do anything that would embarrass them or make them feel shame to me, because that goal for me is watching my reputation. You know, it's like last night a guy put on a post on Granny approached me or whatever he said, and we got drunk. Oh no, no. So I had to say something. You know, no, you don't tarnish my reputation. Too hard for it.
Wow, that's a shame.
You know. So it's, you know, and the Bay Area, you have to remember, they didn't know my goal. They didn't know why I was doing it. They didn't know that the kids that I got was because the way people treated kids. So I wanted these kids to have something that they could show that came from them, that they can make it no matter what.
Yes.
See, no one helped my mom. No one came by to help her. No one asked her, what's the problem? You see, so these kids, and like I said, the way they was treating the kids, so those kids are mine. And plus, I didn't have to do a whole lot of talking with them. So that didn't interfere with my intellectual part with dealing with them. You know, it's just a few words. But they never knew anything about me. I wasn't going to sit them down and say, oh, well, you guys, I'm doing this for mine. You know, these were little kids,
yeah.
You know, with the youngest being 2 years old. And then Don was 17 when he came to me. So, it never even occurred to me to tell him my history.
Wow.
Like I said, all I was looking for was love. Mm-hmm. So that was my purpose, and I didn't, none of them knew my history. They only just learned it slowly since 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, and I always kept myself anonymous. And then what happened is that when they did bring me back, they had told everybody who I was. Nobody knew who Deborah was. And that was by my wish. I wasn't trying to get recognition.
Yes.
You see, Granny was the one to get the recognition.
Yes.
So, like I said, it was this, you know, and it was no such thing as worried about being in competition with them, because I didn't like, because I know the guys would end up fighting. when they double it, they end up fighting. So I had to stop that. And so I wouldn't let them battle. But what they did is just made our group that much stronger.
Yeah.
You know, because they knew that the standards that we had. You know, but see, my purpose, like I said, it was because they would get into fights and be crying.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you know a bunch of teenage boys, and when they start crying, oh my God!
Yeah, it can get heavy.
I ain't coming back no more. You know, I mean, they would go through the drama.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this, Granny: how did you feel when you started to see dancing growing from the time that you had started? Because at some point during the mid-70s and forward all the way up into the 80s, how did you feel when you started to see dancing growing from when you first started? How did that make you feel?
I didn't get to see that, unfortunately. The guys, Close Encounters, even Lonnie, all of them, they was using my stuff behind my back. So they didn't want me to know it. So after 77 is when everybody started coming out. That's when we start seeing dancers. But then as they learned to start having their shows, and they started having shows at the Y or whatever and stuff, they didn't tell me about it. See, so I didn't get to see that. When I left in 82, I left thinking nobody liked to dance.
Hmm.
I had no idea.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's why when I went away for those 10 years, I went to the Valley, San Fernando Valley. I went to like a convent. That was a spiritual school, but I call it the convent. But that's what I learned, how to eat healthy, and went on my spiritual trip, because not only that, people were saying that I was doing it for the devil. Well, the impact that had on me, that was traumatic for me. I mean, I'm doing this for my mama. How dare you say I'm doing it for the devil?
Yeah, that's not nice. You know, you've been through so much. What would you tell young girls, you know, that are, you know, teenagers or maybe even younger, that, you know, that is just starting to decide what they want to do with themselves? I know you've shared a lot of information about your struggles, but what gave you that inner strength inside of you to help you to just make it?
Your values. Keep your values. You do not have to sell yourself cheap when you got your own talent. When you have something, you don't have to do that. Even you know, keep your values, keep your morals. Walk with your head high. Try not to do anything that'll make you feel shame, because that was a burden that I had to carry, and it wasn't even my fault. Being molested was not my fault, but I carried it all those years. So don't shortchange yourself. Keep your values and keep going. You know, it's not a matter of, well, just trying to do it because they tell you to do it. You know, as you get older, you don't want something to come back and haunt you because you did something that was not acceptable.
That's some good advice. That's some really good advice. So, Granny, when you want people to think about you 100 years from now, 200 years from now, what would you like for them to remember about you in terms of your legacy?
That I started the whole thing, that I started a whole style. The thing is Donald Jones when Singleton, when he came to me, he had the proper material that I could work with. A lot of people think that he came in already prepared. Well, if he was already prepared, why did he need me? You see, there would be no need for me, and there definitely wouldn't be a need for you to come from Oakland every day to San Francisco to practice. You see, and there also your parent. What kind of parent is going to let you go and give your stuff to a grown woman? That just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
But the thing is that so when Don came and stuff, and like I showed him, and like as far as for the ROTC stuff, the guillotine stuff, my brother was the ROTC, and I think it was Stricker, but he was in the band, and he used to go to the Fresno relays. He never saw any dancers there, so they must have been on the side. Like I said, it was very little because the rest of the Bay Area was not making any noise.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so and now it's like all of these people coming up. For instance, Richmond in '64, it was just a developing town, like when Compton was developing. It was just white people. And, then it started getting bigger then. There wasn't no robot dancers over there.
Mm.
But, see, so the thing is that on one end, my story is going to hurt people. But you know what? I feel like this year, I waited since 2004 when I first found out that the truth wasn't been told to now, and I'm just going to, I think that's long enough.
Yes.
I think that's not enough. They had a chance to tell the truth, and at first they tried to. Oh, never mind. We want to keep it positive.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Let me just jump in and ask you this. How about this question? If you could help influence things for the better in terms of dance and everything that you know and that you see that is going on, what would you like to see happen as far as, people coming together and putting away, the egos and just the selfishness and the lies? What would you like to see happen if you could?
I would like see us all do a show. Everybody has their part in which they don't realize. Everybody has a specialty and a part. To see that come together and everybody having fun. See, back in the day when you went to dance, it was to have fun. It was to have fun, and it was a given that some people didn't dance as good as the next person, and it was a few that stood out that was good. I happen to be one of them for my middle school when I danced. But the thing is that everyone was allowed to be there, and they wasn't made to feel shame that they were dancing. It was to have fun, and what it is that a lot of people forgot to have fun with it.
Yes.
You come to a dance and you smile, you're ready. And guys still danced with girls. And that was fun, you see. So, but now you see guys dancing with guys all the time. You have some young people that never even danced with a female before.
Yes.
And I'm saying, my God, what is going on here? That's the whole purpose. Not to impress a guy, but to impress a woman.
Yes.
For instance, I give a demonstration of the cold duck. Well, actually, the cold duck, before it was the cold duck, what you don't realize is that the shoulder movement was a female thing, because a woman back then, to show her shoulders was sexy. You see, if you pull one sleeve down on to expose one shoulder or something like that, well, that was to be cute. You see, to be cute and attractive. You see? So I don't know if you noticed, I usually pop one side of my shoulder. That was because the cane was in my other hand.
Yes, I saw that.
But and that was the purpose of that. So these are all foundational dances that people don't realize that, you know, and oh, that's just to go duck, or that's just that. Oh no, it was more than that. You see, because when you combine those things, and each of those dances, you can dance off of any music that was funk then. You see, you can dance off of it because it just moved right into the next one of what you want to do. Yes. You know, so it's like as Granny, I allow the guys to have freedom and to expose themselves, because that's what made it unique. Because people can pick different sides, and then, like when you hear the girls say, "Oh, I like this one," or "I like that one," you know, stuff like that. That's because they, you know, they had their own uniqueness. One, "Oh, I like it." So that was fascinating to me. Instead of they're all doing the same thing.
Yes.
You see.
Now, Granny, let me ask you this. Let me jump in. Excuse me. Do you feel that our young dancers should be more respectful to the elders, the older dancers?
Yes, I do. I feel that a lot of them didn't get that home training, because you got to remember we lost 3 generations to drugs. So during that period when we lost them, a lot of them did not get that home training. You see, so they don't have any respect. Look at the adults that disrespected them.
Yeah.
You see? But the thing is to bring that together. I don't belong to one person. I'm not a groupie. I never was in that. You got to remember, as far as my goals, that was always solo. So I wasn't a groupie. I love everybody. I don't love this group or that group or this. I love them all.
Yes.
You see, if they got the talent and they can dance, then great. You see, but these are the same people that have put all these different names on it, and I'm saying, wait a minute. So it's like I'm saying, well, okay, what part in my dance are you calling this or you calling that? You know, and like I said, they took the simplicity out and made it harder.
Yes. Now,
by doing that and thinking that they're making it, oh, so intelligent and stuff. That doesn't make the intelligence. We are human. Be human.
Yes.
Don't be a machine. That's what confuses us. It's like certain dancers I could call out that dance like a machine, or like they've just hand caught on count, and it's not a feel. Dancing is a feel. You know, this is why I would say strut your stuff, and that's where strutting came from. And so it was, you know, when you start feeling good and feeling like, oh, hey, I'm getting into it, I'm hot now, you know, hey, you know, that's the feel. You want that feel, you see. But I still think that they can still go and have fun, but I also feel at the same time it's a learned experience, because a lot of them don't really know what fun is, their interpretation of fun. You see, depending on how we grew up and the experiences that we had to go through during that time.
Yes.
It's like me, I had to find out, well, oh man, all these things that happened to me, I had to go to because I wanted to know. You have to be nosy enough about your own life to fix it.
Yes.
So I went there. I went to find out, who to talk to somebody so that, I could learn those things. But, as I said, back to the education thing, is that my grandmother wanted me to be a real estate lady, so she said she was going to help me in my entertainment, and she didn't.
Mm.
Oh, because she wanted me to be something else. I think that kids should be allowed to explore being whatever, like you did. Oh, well, you want to do that, and next week you're not going to want. Encourage them, even if they do have it for a minute. You never know what may develop. But
So
don't take it away from them. Don't take it away from them. I was also told, you can't tell me. I had all these negative things about me, and what I do notice is that there's a block at certain points in my life when I try to do certain. It's like I'm scared to death of a crowd. As Granny, I feel somewhat protected.
yes, I see. So Granny, when you look back into your life and you realize, that you've been a survivor and you've been able to help people and, even come to an understanding of yourself, when you look back, you can feel good that you've done your best, and you feel that the arts played a big role in helping you to find out who you are as a person. Dancing in general helped to change your life.
You're asking me, did it?
Yes, I'm asking you if dancing, the arts, dancing, helped to mold who you are today. Because it sounds like you devoted your life.
I think that it helped to mold me, but you got to remember, by me being kept away from that information, not knowing that they liked me, because you got to remember they were only kids. So no one ever told me. They never told me that they liked me.
Okay.
See, so you're telling me things I don't know, and I didn't get to have that experience of. That's why I went away thinking nobody liked it.
So, but now though, Granny, you know that so many people love you and appreciate you for what you've done, and I think I've seen pictures of you even out at the West Coast event there, where you were out there, right in the crowd. I saw you. So you come out when you get a chance, and I saw that you look like you were even encouraging some of the youth. So I see that you're getting out more and more, and you do know now that people do love you and appreciate you.
No.
You don't know that?
No.
Well, I do. People love you and appreciate you. See, the way that things are working now is that we're at a point, it seems to me, at least from my opinion, that everybody with the internet and just computers in general, everybody is feeling very empowered. And because of that, they're not really sharing how they really feel with other people, because they become so absorbed with themselves. But the truth is, I see that there are people out there that appreciate you, and there are people out there that love you. I see your name going around, on Facebook, and I do see that there are people that are acknowledging the fact that, you do love the arts, and you were out there and you did help people. So if you're not seeing it, I'm seeing it, and I'm saying that that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah, that is.
Yes,
that is.
It's a good thing, because you've come a long way. You've worked hard. You're a survivor. And, even from a young age, you took on responsibilities. So when I think about the value of this conversation and how you're actually helping me at this moment, when I think about what you have just shared with me, the encouragement from what I'm taking away from this conversation is that while you were young and you experienced the good and the bad, you didn't give up on yourself, and you were willing to embrace others to try to help mold them and let them experience the joy, that you had inside of you, excuse me, even while you were trying to prove a point, that you weren't going to be a failure. Even with that, whatever it is that drives us, even with that, you still were able to find out who you are and do the best that you could with what you had, and that is to be commended. And I think for that, that's what makes you a success, and that is what is going to make people remember you by that. It's not about what you didn't have, it's about you doing the best with what you have. And I think that reasonable people are going to look at you for that and remember the good that you did for people. Those young men that you called out, Don and the others, you were there for them, and that's important. And it's not about saving the world. You did what you could with whoever was in your path at a certain time that you were able to do it. And I think that is a great thing. And I'm sure that if they didn't let you know then, I'm sure that they appreciate, whatever you were able to do for them at that time. So we're going to wrap up the interview, but I want you to tell me, is there anyone that you would like to thank?
Yes. I'd like to thank the Bay Area, San Francisco, specifically for the wonderful dancers that were up then and around. I'd like to shout out to my friend Caniso, and I'd like to shout out to a fantastic guy, Carl Gilkey, Zulu King DJ Hayes, and all the people who are supporting me now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Wow, that's great. So with that, is there any closing words that you would like to express? Is there anything that you wanted to leave with the youth, as far as I know you've said a lot, but I just wanted to make sure that you got a chance, to just share, any kind of information? Or also, is there any way, do you want people to contact you? Are you managing any dance groups today, or even are you dancing yourself?
I'm doing a little dancing now, and hopefully I will be dancing with the crew in the near future. But I want to tell people to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. No matter how much someone says you can't. If you believe in yourself and you know that it's a good thing and it's not hurting anyone, always think about the consequences of what your actions may do to another person.
Yes, that's great. That's great. That's really good. Well, we're going to close. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share, your life story with me. I appreciate you, and we value you. And I just want to extend an invitation to you and your friends, and just let you know that, you have an open invitation. You're always welcome to share your insights, and also whatever events or things that you have up and coming, you're always welcome to share that. Feel free to reach out to me. You have my number, or we can connect on Facebook and email. I'm not a hands-off type of person. I'm very I make myself available when I can. So I just want to let you know that there is no boundaries here. We don't need anybody to mediate a conversation between me and you. We don't need anybody in the middle, and that I'm open to talk to you. And I just wanted to clear that up. So again, thank you so much.
Email me so that I'll have your email.
I sure will. And I just want to thank you again, and I want you to know how much we appreciate you, and we love you for what you have done.
Thank you. I really thank you. I think that you guys got a wonderful thing going here. You guys are great. I like the name and everything. So the main thing is to keep going, and don't give it up.
Thank you so much for your encouragement, and we appreciate you. And we'll be in touch soon. Okay.